The Caribbean in the late 17th century was a tumultuous sea of empires, pirates, and plunder. Amidst this volatile world, Port Royal, Jamaica, emerged as a beacon for those who lived by the sword. In 1655, English forces, eager to weaken Spain's grip on the New World, seized control of Jamaica. This power shift marked the beginning of Port Royal's transformation into a haven for privateers. These privateers, often little more than legalized pirates, were granted letters of marque, authorizing them to attack enemy vessels. Port Royal, with its natural harbor and proximity to Spanish shipping lanes, became their ideal base. The city's population exploded with an influx of sailors, merchants, and adventurers, all drawn by the promise of quick riches. Taverns and brothels lined the streets, catering to the whims of the newly rich buccaneers. The late 17th century marked Port Royal's golden age, a period of unprecedented wealth and infamy. The city became a magnet for some of the most notorious pirates in history, including Henry Morgan and Blackbeard. Henry Morgan, later knighted by the English crown, rose to prominence as a privateer who ruthlessly targeted Spanish settlements. His audacious raids on Panama City and Portobello brought him immense wealth and notoriety, much of which flowed into Port Royal. Blackbeard, known for his fearsome appearance and ruthless tactics, used Port Royal as a base for his reign of terror in the Caribbean. The influx of pirate wealth fueled a booming economy in Port Royal. Merchants thrived, selling everything from exotic spices and silks to weapons and ammunition. On June 7, 1692, Port Royal's prosperity came to an abrupt and catastrophic end. At approximately 11:43 a.m., a massive earthquake, estimated to be around 7.5 on the Richter scale, ripped through the city. The earth heaved and buckled, buildings crumbled into rubble, and the sea surged inland, swallowing entire streets. The once bustling port was transformed into a scene of unimaginable destruction in a matter of minutes. Witnesses described the sea receding from the harbor, exposing the seabed, before surging back in a series of monstrous waves. The water swept through the city's streets, carrying away buildings, ships, and people in its relentless torrent. Adding to the horror, fires erupted throughout the devastated city, feeding on the wreckage and spreading rapidly. In the aftermath of the earthquake, efforts to rebuild Port Royal were hampered by aftershocks, disease, and the sheer scale of the devastation. Survivors, many of whom had lost everything, struggled to salvage what they could from the wreckage. The English government, recognizing Port Royal's strategic importance, attempted to revive the city as a naval base. However, the memory of the disaster lingered, and Port Royal never fully regained its former glory. Subsequent hurricanes in 1712, 1722, and 1726 further ravaged the weakened city. Despite the setbacks, Port Royal remained a strategically important location. The English fortified the harbor, constructing Fort Charles to protect against future attacks. Over the centuries, the submerged portion of Port Royal, once a bustling hub of activity, transformed into a time capsule. Archaeologists, drawn to the site's historical significance, began to explore the underwater ruins, uncovering a treasure trove of artifacts. Excavations revealed the remnants of Port Royal's opulent past. Preserved beneath the sea were the foundations of grand houses, taverns, and shops. Intact bottles of wine, ceramics, and even a pocket watch provided intimate details about the everyday lives of the city's inhabitants. These discoveries painted a vivid picture of Port Royal in its prime, both as a center of trade and a den of iniquity. The artifacts recovered from the site became invaluable resources for historians and archaeologists. Today, Port Royal stands as a poignant reminder of the power of nature and the fleeting nature of human endeavors. The once thriving city, a symbol of both wealth and wickedness, is now a shadow of its former self, a quiet fishing village overlooking the site of its former glory. Yet the legend of Port Royal lives on, fueled by tales of pirates, sunken treasure, and the catastrophic earthquake that sealed its fate. The city's rise and fall serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed and the importance of respecting the forces of nature. The archaeological discoveries at the site have provided invaluable insights into the history of piracy, colonialism, and the transatlantic slave trade. In recognition of its historical significance, Port Royal has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Modern-day Port Royal offers visitors a unique opportunity to step back in time and experience the allure of the Caribbean's pirate past. The town, with its laid-back atmosphere and friendly locales, provides a stark contrast to its infamous history. Visitors can explore the remnants of Fort Charles, which still stands guard over the harbor, its cannons pointing out to sea as if frozen in time. The Fort Charles Maritime Museum houses a collection of artifacts recovered from the sunken city, offering a glimpse into the daily lives of Port Royal's inhabitants. Visitors can marvel at centuries-old coins, weapons, and navigational instruments, each piece telling a story of the city's vibrant past. For those seeking a more immersive experience, diving tours offer a chance to explore the underwater ruins of Port Royal,